Did you know that most plants that you buy at a retail garden center are not grown on location? Instead, they're grown at wholesale nurseries, boxed up, shipped overnight, unboxed at the retail centers, repotted, grown for a few weeks until those flowers are just perfect for you to take home. In this video, I'm gonna walk you through the logistics and unboxing and repotting of your favorite flowers that you love for your garden, and so much more. Hi, I'm Dr. Tom Warren, and you're watching A Plant Doctor. Let's get started. Ordering live plants typically starts several weeks in advance. For example, I ordered these almost a month ago for delivery this week. So you'll get a tracking number once they ship, and it's imperative that you keep up with the tracking number. They're shipped overnight. We're dealing with live plants. They're not going to live long in this box. So as soon as you see that your box is at your location, it's imperative that we go ahead and open the box up. And so these boxes, they are packed very tightly. It's really impressive how they pack these boxes. There's smaller boxes within this large box. So there are 4 of these in each one of the big boxes. And in each one of these smaller boxes are 2 trays. These ship in what we call a split 102. So there's 2 51 cell trays in here. And each tray is 17 rows by 3 columns, which equals 51. There's 2 in each one. That's why it's called a split 102. Once the tape is removed, we can begin to take our plants out of the box. And it has a very fine netting as well as bubble wrap over the top. This keeps our plants from breaking in the box. So the bubble wrap sits on top of the leaves, and that protects it from any shifts that the box may have during shipping. And then the netting sits on top of the bubble wrap to hold the bubble wrap in place. Once we have our plants unboxed, the next thing we need to do is select a flat that we want to grow them in. And flats are separated into 2 parts. We have what we call the insert, which holds the soil, and we have the tray, which the inserts fit into perfectly, so it's easy to move around, and we're not just holding inserts and they're floppy and we may drop one. So I have 2 examples of inserts here. This first one I have in my hand is what we refer to as a 408 insert, and they are divided up into 4 smaller cells, and 8 of those, so 4 times 8 would get us to 32 plants per tray. This next flat is referred to as a 606. So there's going to be 6 cells per individual unit in this particular tray, and 6 units fits within each insert. So in this particular 606, we can hold 36 plants per tray. And this is how most flowers and vegetables are sold in the United States on the retail market. They're either sold by the entire flat in a 606, sold by an entire flat in an 804, or they're sold individually in 4 packs or 6 packs. As soon as your plants arrive, you want to unbox them quickly, and ideally you want to repot them into a larger pot as soon as possible. In this example, we're going to use an 804 insert and tray to demonstrate how you transplant from the split 102s into your larger pots. So you want to take one of your split 102s and just don't pull the vegetative part out of your cell here. What you want to do is kind of massage the bottom of the cell to loosen up that root ball. Sometimes the roots will want to come out of the drain holes a little bit. And if we just go pull the vegetation, we may pull the vegetation and leave the roots behind. So it's always a good idea to massage the root ball, get down beside the base of the plant and slowly begin to work it up. Make sure those roots are coming up with it. Once we have our plug removed, the easiest thing to do is to take something like a large pencil or your finger, make a hole in your potting mix, insert your plug so that the top of the root ball is level with the top of the potting mix. The potting mix that I like to use is from Berger. It is a mix of peat with a little bit of perlite. It's a very light, fluffy mix. The roots of these plants can grow through it very quickly with very little restriction. It is moist but well drained. It's not going to become very saturated. It's a good overall potting mix for doing annual flowers. Once we have successfully transplanted our plugs to our trays, the next thing we need to do is label. And so all of these plants will come with labels from the growers, and this is Lantana Bandana Pink. And I know that's Lantana bandana pink because on the 102 insert, the label is printed on it with where it's going to and the type of plant that it is. And you may be thinking, Dr. Warren, well, why is it important to label these? Because I know that's a Lantana, I can just look at it. Well, there's hundreds, if not thousands, of cultivars of Lantana. For example, I have probably 4 or 5 different cultivars of Lantana sitting here. And when they're in this early of a growing stage, you can't tell the difference between them. So it's always imperative, as soon as you complete a flat, get the correct label and insert one on each end of your flat. Once transplanted and properly tagged, it's imperative to get some moisture on these plants as soon as possible. You'll want to water them with a fine mist until the new potting mix that we incorporated into our sales becomes moist. Once our plants are potted up in the flats, they're allowed to grow for 4 to 6 weeks to be available to retail market. Sometimes these plants are also potted up into either a 4-inch pot or an 8-inch pot. And the process of rooting out into those larger pots may take up to 8 weeks to complete. For what potting mix brings in terms of being light and airy and easy to root in and holding moisture but not too much moisture, it lacks in nutrients. Depending on the species of plant, there's roughly 18 essential nutrients that plants need in order to complete their life cycle. With smaller plants that are in trays, typically they are going to be fertilized with a liquid fertilizer, something similar to Miracle-Gro. With plants in a larger pot, typically a granular fertilizer is applied. After about 2 weeks of being in the tray, typically plants are going to be pinched back. Pinching back is the process of removing longer or leggy limbs off of the plant, and what this is going to do is encourage fuller growth. So everywhere that a plant is pinched, there'll be 2 to 4 new branches form, and that is going to create a much fuller, more marketable plant at the retail center. Sometimes retail garden centers will combine different plants into large containers or hanging baskets and have a mixed planter arrangement. This process often involves starting plants in either a 606 or 804 flat, and once they are mature in those flats, they will be transplanted into the larger baskets or containers. This process can take up to 2 to 3 months to complete. Although labor intensive, as you can see here, the results are phenomenal, providing vibrant colors, robust textures that are eye-catching and awe-inspiring. I hope this video has provided you some knowledge so that this spring, when you're at your local retail garden center, you have a greater appreciation for the work that goes on to get those beautiful plants from the wholesale nursery to your house. Guys, as always, thank you for watching The Plant Doctor, and until next time, happy gardening.